So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Oh, all right. And maybe have both feet flat on the floor. About a hip's width apart. Can have your palms resting on your thighs, shoulders aligned with your hips. And imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just imagine you're lengthening your spine, putting some space in between those vertebrae. And then bring your attention to the crown of the head and relax your scalp and the forehead, the eyebrows, the eyelashes, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth. Relax the back of the head, the neck, the throat. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down and relax the chest, and the belly, and all of your limbs. And notice the breath sensations as you inhale and exhale. We have a very intimate relationship with our breath, and I think we don't often appreciate all of the sensations that we are in fact experiencing, but maybe don't notice. So maybe just tune in. The one that's most noticeable, I think, is probably the breathing in and out of the nostrils. You can feel sensations there. And then the belly. And then the chest cavity is generally, we feel it. I think most people just tend to focus on the chest, but actually, as the diaphragm drops as you inhale, you're expanding your rib cage in a 360-degree, kind of a circle of 360 degrees. So sometimes if our back is tight, if our upper back is tight, we tend to raise our shoulders up. So just as you're inhaling and exhaling there, just try and imagine, rather than the shoulders, rising up, maybe just the expansion, even if you do this mentally, the expansion of the rib cage around the thoracic region. Then be aware of any sounds in your environment. And then I have to say, up here in the forest is completely silent and dark. A little bit of dripping of rain. So, what are your sounds in your environment? And just allow them to be there. And then bring to mind your thoughts. What's going on in your mind? Have you been busy today? Do you still have family with you? Have you been busy cooking, shopping, taking care of people? And try and put some space in between those thoughts. And maybe you've had conversations that were, I don't know, disturbing. Maybe you saw things that kind of didn't quite fit for you. So just be curious about what is in your mind. Be gentle with yourself and look at your mind with an element of curiosity. Look at your mind with objectivity. just allowing the thoughts to bubble up. And try not to follow those thoughts or engage in the story. Rather, take a step back, or, as I used to talk, put your thoughts in a little bubble and you can just let them float away. And then bring to mind all the people of our life, the ones we have people in our lives who we really love, have profoundly impacted our life and continue to do so. And then there's our strangers. And then there's people that we're not super fond of or we don't trust somehow. It's that category of people sort of ranging from don't particularly trust you to having full-on aversion. I think what they refer to in the text as the enemy category. But it doesn't. I think in our Western language, that's regarded as it's kind of an extreme. But in the text, that they're talking about anyone that you don't particularly trust or like. And, regardless of how you feel about anybody at any particular time, just be aware that these relationships can be interchangeable according to our karma, this impermanent world we live in. And then they're all equal. They're all like you and me. They want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. And they all have this extraordinary capacity for, enlightened potential, have this enlightened potential. So we start by thinking we'll do this practice for all these people of our life and by extension, all sentient beings. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. We know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to this power of reliance. And we turn to the Buddha Vajrasattva, who we can regard more as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha to forgive us, Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we've harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of, people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they have caused you is going to result in suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And now we come to this power of remedy, and this is the actual medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Sutukaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sata ah hum pe, Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, situkaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is this purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra. It arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip, all the harsh speech and useless speech, and like rabbiting on about nothing and lying, and talking about people behind their backs, getting other people to agree with you about that. all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is this purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So just imagine you've walked into a room and it's dark and you flick on the switch. And the light instantly dispels the darkness, doesn't it? So imagine the same things happening here. The light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment, depression, anxiety, neediness, anger, bitterness, resentment, grudges, disappointments, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Trita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shiyam guru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Ambajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Trida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shiyam guru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Trida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shiyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shiyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe. So again, be really delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is this purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. So imagine Vajrasattva, very happily, delightedly sends light and nectar this time, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness as you recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anorekta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shiyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe. So now feel completely purified, not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your omniscience, your enlightenment, have been removed. So now we have this power of resolve, and this is the fourth and final step in the purification process, and it's a really crucial one. And this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. So, we just have to decide. We have to make a decision. This is what I want. And without this kind of aspiration, we're just going to keep doing the same old stuff over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new and more positive directions. So it's a little bit like some guardrails for us. So first of all, rejoice in your efforts for coming along tonight, all these different time zones, particularly you people all on the East Coast. It's super late there. I mean, it's also late in Santa Fe in New Mexico as well, mountain time. So rejoice in your effort. And then think of something you just feel that you need to pay attention to. Maybe you keep coming up against it over and over again. So, you can be your own therapist here. Think of something you'd like to work on and just focus on that between now and tomorrow. See if you can refrain from doing it. So maybe it could be negative self-talk. Maybe opening your mouth when perhaps it's best to keep it shut. Anyway, Vajrasattva's delighted with us, regardless. Whatever tiny effort you put in, you're putting your mind in the right direction and wants to merge with your mind. And he melts into light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And we can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do our 3 verses of chanting the names of Manjushri. The blazing energy of all the Buddhas, with bodies fully shared by all the Buddhas, the highest union formed with all the Buddhas, the single teaching taught by all the Buddhas, most glorious with Vajraratna's blessing, the highest sovereign lord of Savaratna, the king supreme of Savalokeshvara, the lord on high of Sava Vajradhara, the quintessential mind of Sava Buddha, residing in the mind of every Buddha, the greatest body born by every Buddha, the lovely speech enriching every Buddha. So, Shayla, yes.
What does sarva mean?
Sarva Tathagata. I don't know. Let's look it up. Sarva. It's Sanskrit. And Sarva Tathagata.
Sorry, everybody.
A name of ancient Indian origin means complete or whole. In Hinduism, it's associated with Lord Shiva and is often used to describe him. Sanskrit word means all, every part, the whole, mass or quantity, complete, entire, whole or perfect. In Buddhism, a term that means awareness of all and denotes a form of omniscience or awareness. In Jainism, a term that means total and renunciation. In Iran, a musical genre of Iran, and okay, goes on. Many meanings, but anyway, I think it's referring to being whole, perfect, complete, enlightened, in other words, I'd say. Yeah, Savatatagata. All right, so let's just, thanks for asking that question, Shayla. I think everybody probably benefited from that, including me. Right. So I have a lovely relationship with AI these days. So let's just have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your own individual teachers to live long. Okay, thank you so very much, everyone. Thank you for hosting, Bill.